Well, a new week and with it, a new witness. The High Court in Pretoria is still on a quest to unravel the mystery around former Bafana Bafana goalkeeper that's Senzo Meyiwa's death. The family will take solace in the fact that the trial seems to be moving at a faster pace than the last time, and hopefully justice will be served soon. Let's listen in now to, of course, what the new witness had to say. But I understand that before we actually go there, there are a couple of things that we have to do just in terms of getting context with regards to what happened the last time. That was on Friday when, of course, we're wrapping up some testimony with Mthokozisi that is Senzo Meyiwa's friend, also taken to the stand. My colleague eNCA reporter Moloko Moloto joining me, of course, at this time to take us through some of that testimony. Moloko, very warm good morning to you, colleague. Let's go back to Friday and just perhaps give some context as to what Mthokozisi had to say as he wrapped up his testimony. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Tumelo Mututwane. Indeed, a new week, and we are also expecting that a new witness will take to the witness stand. This is as we are approaching 9 years, specifically in October this year. It will be 9 years since Senzo Meyiwa was gunned down, and we are still not having the answers. We still don't know who exactly killed the Orlando Pirates and the Bafana skipper. And of course, his friend Mthokozisi has wrapped up his testimony on Friday, and this week, specifically today, we're going to hear from the new witness, although we do not know specifically who is going to be taking to the witness stand. We have heard already the state essentially saying that it's got no intention of calling Kelly Khumalo, who was the girlfriend of Senzo Meyiwa at the time. We don't know the reasons, but we have had the defense indicating that they will actually want to call Kelly because she's one of the eyewitnesses who were in the house on the day Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Some of those who were in the house, some of them have already taken to the witness stand. We're talking here about the sister of Kelly Khumalo, Zandi Khumalo, and we have also heard from Mthokozisi Twala, who was the friend of Senzo Meyiwa. He continues to insist that there were intruders who came into the house and they shot at Senzo Meyiwa. You would recall that the defense argues that there was never any intruder in that particular house. Essentially, they are arguing that the people who know who killed Senzo Meyiwa are those who were in the house. But of course, if there's one consistency, at least on the part of Mthokozisi Twala as well as Zandile Khumalo, is that there were intruders. But one of the other interesting part, just to refresh the memory of our viewers, is that so far here in court we have heard, Dumelo, from the police investigators that a cell phone that is linked to one of the 5 men accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa called the cell phone of Kelly Khumalo, the girlfriend at the time of Senzo Meyiwa, days before Senzo Meyiwa was killed. One conversation lasted for just over 2 minutes, and the other conversation lasted for about a minute or so. And of course, there was also an issue of the SIM swap that was done on the cell phone of Senzo Meyiwa. We don't know who did that. This happened after he had died. And another interesting thing was that the court heard that Kelly Khumalo was not willing to hand over the ID of the deceased Senzo Meyiwa to the family after he had died. Of course, ultimately she was convinced, we heard, by the police to hand over that particular ID. So it would be very interesting, of course, to hear who the next witness is going to be and what do they have to say in assisting this particular court to come to a determination as to who ought to be held accountable for the killing of the number one goalkeeper for Orlando Pirates and the national team at the time, Senzo Meyiwa.
And with that being said, Moloko, I understand there's a new witness expected to take the stand this morning. Do we know the witness' name and what's to be expected from this testimony?
It's very difficult to speculate really as to who is likely to be the next witness. My understanding is that they would, or the state would call witnesses in terms of their availability, but it would make sense, I presume, from a layman's point of view, that those who were in the house, those who witnessed this particular murder, would possibly be called to kind of like shed some light and assist the court. But as we have already heard from the state that it really has no intentions of calling some of them, Kelly Khumalo specifically, the mother of the Khumalo sisters. We don't know whether the state will be calling her, but also Longwe Twala, who was there as well, and we heard that at some point during that particular mayhem he fled the house. We don't know whether he would be among those who would be called. But what about the other people, those who came to clean the scene of the crime, despite the fact that the police had not arrived to proceed with their investigation? You might have heard Advocate Zandile Mshololo, who is representing one of the 5 accused, indicating that the only thing that the police found at the crime scene were the cans of alcohol. Not all of it, because if you had Ntokozi Zitwala, the type of brand of alcohol that he was drinking on the night, those particular cans apparently were not found at the scene. So that would tell you that possibly the scene, the crime scene, was tampered with. And the fact that somebody saw it fit to clean that particular crime scene even before the police arrived to take charge, that would tell you that possibly the crime scene was compromised. We don't know at this point in time, unfortunately, as to who is going to be taken to the witness stand, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable in speculating as to who would be next in the witness stand.
I suppose, of course, following through with the procedure, as we do with court cases, a colleague will have to wait till they appear in the dock and they give their testimony, and that's when we'll know for sure the name of the witness. But like you said, it could be anyone. It could be anyone who was in the house. It could be perhaps one of the neighbors. It could really be anyone who might have some information to lead to what exactly happened from their perspective in that house on that fateful day Senzo Meyiwa was shot back in 2014. But we'll leave it at that. We'll come back to you as soon as there are any other developments, knowing that, of course, around 10 o'clock, that's when the time is expected for court to commence this Monday morning for the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. That's, of course, my colleague Moloko Moloto with that story.